Today, I am once again asking which anime gives off the most gay vibe. Because the poll over in my YouTube community tab was overwhelming. You guys wanted to see the return of this series, so here we are. On Instagram, the story was a little bit different, but you know what? Democracy is dead everywhere, including this channel. And my opinions are not going to be democratic at all. If this is your first time here, let me explain the rankings to you. Senpai, I'm actually gay in disguise, is basically animes that give off a gay vibe 100%, but for some reason they're still labeled as straight, even though we all know that's false. In Another World I'm Queer is animes that give off that vibe, but to a slightly lesser degree. Like, they're not quite there yet. Baka, I'm not gay, but I'm bisexual, are animes that give off the bi vibe. Can you reevaluate your actions are animes that are disgusting, where they're neither gay nor straight, which is a terrible position to be in. Don't Talk to Me, You're Straight is pretty self-explanatory. Let's get into it. Going strong, we have Your Lie in April, right? And it's so interesting because obviously the main character and the whole plot of this anime is basically Manic Pixie Dream Girl. And if that's not the straightest plot line ever, then I don't know what is. And this is actually one of the few examples where straight relationships in anime ended up being messier than the queer relationships. But I feel like because Kaori is Manic Pixie Dream Girl, does that mean that she could be bisexual? This is the thing. I guess I just automatically assume that any character who is mildly interesting is not straight. I don't know what that says about me, but what this says about this anime is that I think it is straight. I don't think there's enough to get it into another category. Oh my goodness! This is for all my OG shoujo fangirlies out there. Lovely, complex, one of the most based anime to ever come out. I immediately know this is such a bisexual anime. You cannot tell me Risa and Otani are both not bisexuals coming together in a relationship. Maybe not Otani actually, because I remember actually that he is not as open-minded, but I feel like Risa is absolutely bisexual. Because also, you cannot tell me that this relationship is not just giving Amazon goddess, top femme. Am I right? Plus, the entire anime is so camp. Doesn't it also feature that one, like, alternative boy with a red streak in his hair? I love that I don't remember anything about that anime and I haven't watched it in years, but for some reason I remember that boy. I think we all know why. Oh my god, next up we have Snow White with the red hair. Is that not a throwback? I've also not watched this in years, but my gut feeling immediately is telling me, as much as I love this show, it is incredibly heterosexual. Like, I absolutely love the characterization in this anime. Shiroyuki is one of my favorite female anime protagonists because she's actually one of the few in shoujo that actually has a personality, and she doesn't let the stereotype about her having red hair get her down. She's out here mixing the herbs, making the potions, or whatever she does. I forgot. But you know what? Maybe I should reconsider, because I feel like in both seasons of the show, there's only ever one kiss in 2 seasons of an anime. Like, despite this being a romance anime, or classed as a romance anime, I find it very interesting that there's actually very little emphasis throughout placed on the romance. Like, I don't remember watching this for the intense feelings. I remember watching it for the slow burn, for the slow realization of feelings. And that, to me, is actually giving ace. So you know what? I'm gonna bump it up, actually, a whole 2 tiers. Because I feel like in another world, in another lifetime, this absolutely could have been a queer anime and an exploration of aceness, and actually an exploration of demisexuality as well. If it takes them that long to get to one kiss, we must respect the journey of everyone, even if it is really slow. Anyways, my love story is so cute, but it is so straight. Like, obviously the whole point of this anime is that it plays into stereotypes of romance anime, and because of that, I don't think it can go in any other category. Like, Goda is obviously meant to be infatuated with the lead girl the whole time, but the relationship between him and his best friend could be queer, you know, if you really wanted to go full fujoshi on this. But I just feel like, as sweet and lovely as this is, it's not there for me. Moving on. Oh my god, the world is still beautiful. Siren, insert siren here. Because what do you mean that the protagonist is 17 and the younger boy is like 12? I just have such a vivid memory of watching this, even as a teenager myself, and being like, I don't think I can understand this age gap. I feel like despite the age gap, I still loved the dynamic, but I still found it weird that like a child knew how to flirt in like a sexual way with someone who was like 5 years older than him. But interestingly, right, I feel like it's really giving because the age gap really pronounces the cishet patriarchal stereotype of like, regardless of what age you are as a man, you can still have some kind of romantic / sexual power over a woman. Therefore, as much as I love it, she is heterosexual. Okay, trigger warning for the next one, which is half joking, half real, because the next anime is Orange. I don't think I've ever gone back and rewatched this anime, so I actually need to remind myself of what it's about. I think we can all agree that Orange, plot-wise, is the 13 Reasons Why of the anime world. However, I do feel like everyone's so preoccupied with trying to save Kakeru that there is absolutely no room for any exploration of sexuality whatsoever. But I do feel like in a friendship group that big, there was so much room for some kind of queer B-plot. Hello, people getting together in the friendship group. As we know, that's the first step in many queer relationships before you inevitably stop being friends with them for life. I think it does need to reevaluate itself, okay? It's not all about you and your trauma, because all I'm saying is, if we have some cishet depression trauma, why are we also not having the standard, which is queer depression trauma? Okay, Wolf Girl and Black Prince, also one of the most toxic anime to ever exist. I saw this reel the other day that was like, if you want to protect your childhood, don't watch any of the animes that you used to watch as a child, and this is absolutely one of them. But I do think it's actually pretty gay in another world, and let me explain why. You cannot tell me that this main character, with all of his psychopathic behavior, is not doing it because he is just like, I'm trying to figure out whether or not I like women. Does that not make sense? I feel like that's the most base take I've ever had on this channel. Fight me in the comments. Also, I just feel like if you're that much of a pretty boy, there's no way you're not getting attention from all genders. And who knows where he spent his time outside of torturing this poor girl, okay? Moving on. Ooh, okay. My Little Monster. I have thought about this a lot over the years, and I feel like it is bisexual. So much bisexual energy radiates from this anime because Haru really gives extremely chaotic bisexual boy who is just stuck and trying to figure out what he's doing in life. And Mizutani really gives like introverted asexual. I genuinely remember that anime was one of the first things that made me look up how romantic versus sexual attraction works, because the whole time I was just like, why is she not attracted to him? I don't get it. And obviously that's not me stereotyping and being like all asexuals are quiet. However, I just feel like that is the strongest vibe I get from this. Also, it's incredibly gay to just be like, I want a chicken as a pet. I cannot explain it. I want a chicken as a pet, okay? Moving on. Ooh. Is Vampire Night. Oh, it's so gay. Now, I don't think I really need to explain this, but wasn't the whole anime based around like protecting people's identities and not letting them get outed as vampires? I wonder why they did that. I wonder what this reminds me of. I wonder what this reminds you of. Also, Zero was just like the campest man to ever exist. You cannot tell me that he was not bisexual. The other one with the dark hair was giving slightly straighter energy, but he was also kind of giving like, I'm gay and I hate women energy. Yuki is just a blank slate, as every terrible shoujo anime protagonist is, so we can project what we want onto her, and I'm projecting that everyone in this anime is gay, and also for some reason really loves incest. Okay, this next one, right, I'm not sure about this, because Special A to me was one of the most boring animes that I have ever watched, and that is my hottest take. Because I remember I watched it very early on when I started getting into anime, and because I had already seen Ouran, and I had already seen Kaichou Maid-sama, which are obviously two top tier animes, I was just like, there's nothing here that I haven't already seen before in those two animes. Oh, they're academic rivals, and one of them has more privilege than the other one, and it's all a discussion about privilege in schools. It's like, girl, this anime covered it in way better format, okay? And oh, there's a quirky friend group where everyone is straight and one of them doesn't talk, and there was so much more that they could have done with it, and instead they made the main character this like bumbling idiot when we could have had another Misaki, okay? The guy main character, whose name I forget, was definitely Usui copied with way less personality. But because of the campness of the anime, I can see it being queer. But genuinely, because I hate this anime so much, I don't think I want to rank it that high. Alright, screw it. another controversial age gap one. Alright, we have Shugo Chara, which, because there was like 100 something episodes, I think I gave up about halfway through. But you'll know, I was in the trenches watching those Amu X Ikuto AMVs, alright, when I absolutely should not have been, because what do you mean the age gap is this big? Call the police. But this anime has so much gay energy though, and who brings that gay energy? It's obviously my boy Ikuto, okay? Because you cannot tell me this is not a slutty bisexual catboy in any other universe. But whilst I feel like everyone else in the anime is straight, I actually feel like the little fairies, the little eggs, they're all on business, okay? They're clocking it. They're clocking the tea every single day. They have eyes on everything. They know what's up. And because of that, they are absolutely gay. But I don't feel like it's enough for it to be 100% gay. In another world, maybe one without the terrible age gap, it is 100% gay, but for now it's going here. We're halfway through and I have not even gotten to the ones that have like 100% changed the game for me. I am so glad that we are starting with this next one, which is Betrothed to My Sister's Ex, which is one of my favourite anime, dare I say it, of all time. I love it so much. And I don't know if it's just because I love it so much, but like, this is absolutely a bisexual anime, alright? 100%. Let's dive deep into this queerness energy, alright? Firstly, we've got the spoilers ahead, by the way, if you haven't watched it. First of all, we have the gender-bending sister. Hello. With that haircut, with that bisexual bob, what else am I going to think about you? Like, she literally had no reason to cut her hair. She could have just, like, stuffed it into the hat. But instead, she cut it into the bisexual bob. We all know she was just waiting for that moment for her true side to come out. And even though I feel like Count Kyrios and Marie are both straight, because obviously it's just such, like, a slow burn romance, and I feel like they have eyes only for each other. Everyone else around them is absolutely gay. Lulu as well is absolutely giving a woman who is confident in her sexuality, who knows what she wants, and she's absolutely kissed girls before with those lips. We know what she's doing. Also, you cannot tell me with that jewel that Prince Louis Vuitton was just like, yes, I'm happy to give away my best friend / lover to Marie. Why else would you jewel? Why else would you jewel? And if that's not the Fujo bait that I want, I don't know what is. Moving on to another anime that is entirely Fujo bait, Isekai Office Worker. And I feel so annoyed by this anime, right? If you've watched this, please chat to me about it in the comments, because I am on episode like 10, I think. I feel like it's just fallen really flat. Like, I was promised some proper BL. And look, I'm not here for the, like, you know, I don't really care about that. But, there's hardly any romance so far. And it's just like a cutscene. And then for some reason, they're both naked. And then that's it. Where is the build-up? Where is anything else? Any information? But obviously, it's gay. Next is another anime that also fell so flat for me, and it is so straight, it hurts. Blue Box. Now, I actually really loved this anime when I watched the first half of it, because I loved, like, the exploration of, you know, typical sports anime, right? It's about determination, it's about motivation, it's about pushing through, but also about, like, working through your feelings, and I feel like it got the balance really right, and I loved the characterization of both girls, because it was actually very strong, which, as we know, for shonen anime and for any sports anime, it can be a bit 50-50. But then the second half was just like, we are simping over this nothing man. Like, I love him, but he's just a standard man. And there is nothing more heterosexual than brilliant women lowering their standards and being incredibly delulu to go after one guy for basically no reason, okay? Ooh, a sign of affection. Also bisexual, because Itomi is absolutely bisexual. In that anime, he's really given the whole, like, mystical European man who can speak Japanese vibe. And for some reason, like, even if it's implicit, I find that those characters always give off like slight queer energy, which I find quite funny. Also, without being that bitch, he is too stylish and suave to not be bisexual. Yuki, you know, you don't dye your hair pink, and that shade of pink, unless you're at least a little bit queer. I feel like she just wasn't given the chance to fully explore it. The other two side characters, and her horrible best friend, are absolutely straight, but those two are bi. Oh my god, Yakuza Fiance, the gayest anime that I have ever seen with a supposedly straight couple at its core, okay? Every single character in this anime is queer, because you cannot tell me they care about gender. I feel like they just take what they want and they take it when they can, and because of that, they are just doing everyone and everything all the time. Also, one of the few animes that I actually needed to like turn off because the sex scenes were like, I was like, this is actually too much for me to watch when I'm trying to eat my dinner. Also, Yoshino, as soon as I saw her, as soon as I heard that girl's voice, I was like, she's bisexual. She is bisexual. Like, I have never met a single female presenting or identifying person who has that kind of attitude and is not gay. We are switching up the tone a bit for the last few, and the first one we are starting with is In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, which I feel like also has fallen slightly flat for me. In case you didn't see my video that I put out at the start of the year, it was one of my most anticipated animes for 2026, and I might DNF it because there was like so much room to have interesting conversations about like gender and presentation, and about how like the main character is considered a prince despite being female identifying and being a cishet woman, and then for the other main character who has like similar pressures put on him because he looks a certain way as a man and is also given this title of a prince. Like, there was so much room for interesting conversations about gender here, and I feel like it just hasn't happened, and it's just warped into like every other shoujo romance anime, which I was like, what was the point of having this hook if you're not going to follow through? So I think it needs to reevaluate the actions, alright? We need more gay energy. I'm so disappointed. Aggretsuko, everyone in this anime is a little bit queer. Once again, you have a fun, interesting character who likes metal and also very adept at putting on one persona in the office and then going home and putting on another persona. If that doesn't read queer to you, I don't know what will. Okay, and Feneko is absolutely that like one sly lesbian friend in every friendship group that some reason just like is able to keep tabs on everything, but you don't know anything about her love life. You just know that it's messy, you know? That one friend. Here's my take about this. Feneko and Tsunoda would be the perfect lesbian couple, because again, all of this like princess pretty pink vibe, lipstick lesbian. Also, the protein man is just every single gay man who goes to the gym, alright? Also, Haida is the messy bisexual. He is the Nobu of the Aggretsuko universe, and I also think that Nobu is bi, because if you're just like in any way alternative, the chances that you're gay through the roof, alright? And I could sit here and talk about every single Aggretsuko character, but basically everyone's gay. Next. Tomo-chan is a girl, did what I think In the Clear Moonlit Dusk should have done, because Tomo actually had interesting conversations and thoughts about gender, and there was actually a little something there. And the first time I saw her, I absolutely thought that Tomo was bi. Like, with that energy, she probably shouldn't be in a relationship with a man. She could be a lesbian as well. Who knows? Either way, definitely major queer vibes that overshadows all the other potential characters who might be straight. It's a bisexual anime. Skip and Loafer is straight, but not in a bad way. I really loved all the characters, but it is a little bit one note. So, as regrettable as it is, and as much as I did like it, I am gonna have to put it in this category. Like, I just feel like I don't remember that much about it. I just know it had a banging opening song, and that's probably indicative of the vibe. Oh my goodness. Hana Kimi, I don't think I need to explain this. I do not think I need to explain this. Please refer to the meme from my 2026 most anticipated anime here.
Two bros chilling in the hot tub, 5 feet apart cause they're not.
Ooh, Kiss Him Not Me is a very interesting one, right? Because obviously the whole anime is built around the idea of being a fujoshi. And so there's a lot of fujo bait, but I don't think it's actually giving gay vibes. Like, it's giving cishet fujo gays, you know, and not gays with a Y, gays with a Z-E. Obviously, there is the one, like, kiss with Shima and Kai and that relationship, but I feel like, annoyingly, Shima isn't really taken seriously. And because, obviously, the whole show is also built around the idea of Kai transforming her body and being really skinny, it's just really giving, like, cis-het patriarchal views of women and bodies as well. So, as much as I love it, I'm gonna put it in can you reevaluate your actions, because it's kind of a given, even if it is my comfort anime. Ooh, we have a spicy one, spicy two actually, that we are ending on. And first up is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I put Avatar: The Last Airbender in here for two reasons. Firstly, this. And if you know that song without me having to include the images, you need to go touch grass immediately. But secondly, because we all know the debate, is Avatar actually an anime? And I'm on the side of yes. I don't understand the arguments for no, because I feel like the arguments for no are just, it's American. And that's not good enough for me. And interestingly, right, we all know, and if you didn't, I'm about to... Korra was meant to have a gay ending. But Avatar itself was obviously more about the adventure and the journey, and the romance was actually very minimal. But like, Toph is bisexual. Toph is gay. She could even be a lesbian. She could also be ace, but she doesn't she have children? We're getting too much into the technicalities. In terms of everyone's sexualities, let's do a speed run. Aang is straight. Zuko, I feel like is straight. There's not a lot of thoughts going on up here about sexuality. It's about other things, but there absolutely should be. Azula is gay. I don't think that needs any explanation. Sokka is straight. Katara is bi. In Another World is queer. In Another World where, you know, Korra was also able to be gay, maybe this could have been a gay series, who knows. And I saved the best for last. We are ending with Tamon's B-side. Now, interestingly, in the same way to Kiss Him Not Me, obviously in this show there's a lot of Fujo bait with Ori and Tamon, and obviously the fandom, everyone ships everyone together. And Kinoshita is absolutely straight. I cannot see another universe in which she is gay in any capacity. But because of the show's nature in general and how camp it is, I'm like, is it gay? I actually don't know if there's enough in there for me to put it in the gay category, but I don't want to put it in the don't talk to me or straight, because then I'm saying it's D tier, which is not. Obviously, it's based. This is actually so difficult for me, but I feel like I do have to actually put it in this category. I've just been staring at my computer for like 5 minutes and I don't think there's any other place I can put this. I'm so sorry. I've just discovered this whole time that I could have had the view like this. Maybe I'll keep it like that for the next one, but this is the definitive ranking part 2 of how gay I think these animes are. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do more of this series, or if there's any specific animes that you would like me to include in this list as well, because I have really been going back in the depths of my mind to try and pull these lists together, so any help is appreciated. If you like this video, you will absolutely like the first part of this series here, or any of the other tier ranking videos that I've done on my channel. And if you've gotten this far and you've not subscribed, hello, that's incredibly homophobic. You need to subscribe right now. And as always, I hope you're having a lovely day living your best nerdy and authentic life, and I will see you over there in the next video. Bye!